You are not prepared.
First expansion released for World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade was a welcome addition to Vanilla WoW. Released back in 2007, it had some fantastic zones like Nagrand and Netherstorm. If you recall, this is the time that Blizzard decided it's time to introduce Illidan Stormrage, one of the most iconic and tragic figure in World of Warcraft universe. In Burning Crusade, we also got two new races to play with, Blood Elf and Draenor, both with their unique and distinct look and feel that furthermore increased the already great game. Netherdrake and Netherray, among other mounts, was the reason why so many players wanted to max out their reputation in this expansion, not to mention countless runs for Ravenlord in Sethek Hall's Heroic. It is sufficient to say that player population continued to grow after this expansion, as it was great improvement after Vanilla WoW.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
Second expansion released for World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, with Arthas was great step forward for Blizzard, as everyone has sympathies for him. Released back in 2008, story brought us to Icecrown Citadel, Storm Peaks and Borean Tundra, just to mention a few. With each zone unique and challenging, with phenomenal lore, this expansion still holds as one of the best in heart of so many players. This time around, our new nemesis was Lich King, one of characters whose ambition was his downfall. Lich King is still one of the most revered villains in the game. What Wrath of the Lich King also brought to us was a new class Death Knight. When the Lich King's control over his Death Knights was broken, his former champions found their new purpose as Knights of the Ebon Blade. Unique gameplay and always impressive look made this class popular. Players would spend countless hours trying to get the Invincible's reins, Arthas' trusty steed as a mount. I won't even speak about time-lost Proto-Drake, as you can only imagine. In retrospective, I would say that, in my opinion, this was one of the best expansions in entire World of Warcraft saga so far. World of Warcraft Third Expansion. Cataclysm was not a bad expansion. In times, it was very fun and interesting to play. But changes to the landscape for some were off-putting, while others embraced the new Azeroth and changes that came with this expansion. Released back in 2010, instead of new continent, we got post-Cataclysm zones like Twilight Highlands, Tol Barad, Mount Hyjal, and more. This time around, antagonists was Deathwing the Destroyer, one of the 5 dragon aspect and also the leader of the Black Dragonflight. A place where we will get a chance make everything right was Dragon Soul Raid. Along with revamped Azeroth and new nemesis, we got 2 new races, Goblins and Worgen. 1 new race for each of the factions. Both fantastic additions to the game and furthermore enhanced the world we love. As for rare finds that players invested their time in with this expansion, we must mention the Sandstone Drake with its ability to carry player a passenger, and of course the Volcanic Stone Drake with fantastic look that complements this expansion. Even though this expansion split the game population to those who love it and those who absolutely hate it. This expansion was so well received with game population, and impact of this action will hunt the game until this day. World of Warcraft 4th Expansion Mists of Pandaria were magical mists conjured by the last Emperor of Pandaria, Xiao Hao. They protected the inhabitants of the lands during the Great Sundering of Kalimdor, at the end of the War of the Ancients. Released back in 2012, it was a fun expansion to play with lush zones and brand new continent Pandaria. With accent on gameplay improvement, great raids, and PvP, it is one of the best expansions according to many players. With introduction of Garrosh Hellscream's World of Warcraft got a new villain. Some see him as a hero who fought for the Horde's honor, while others view him as a tyrant who lost sight of what truly mattered. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, a reminder that even the most powerful leaders can be shaped by their choices and circumstances. With all the game improvements and fun content, we got the new race Pandarian and Monk class. The enigmatic Pandaren are one of the most elusive races of Azeroth. Hailing from Pandaria and the Wandering Isle, they are humanoid pandas with a great love of nature and strong ales. Mount collectors were not disappointed, as well as many Cloud Serpent mounts were available to get in Pandaria, with the fantastic look unique to this expansion. As mentioned before, it is still one, if not the best WoW expansion released so far, according to community. World of Warcraft 5th expansion. Warlords of Draenor was more solo player oriented and instanced based than any before or after in WoW. With instanced individual plots and more focus towards solo advancement, this expansion is one of those that was not well received with players. Released back in 2014, for the first time we got building a player-specific instanced garrison. Even though progress was fast with this expansion, and there were a lot of things to collect in zones to keep you busy, the lack of community even more distanced the playbase. An alternate version of Gul'dan became our villain in this expansion of the game. Gul'dan was originally a shaman, then he became the first Orcish warlock as well as the de facto founder of the Orcish Horde. This expansion did not bring new races and classes to us. Instead, focus for players was to collect Swift Breeze's Strider, Great Grey Tusk, Bloodhoof Bull, and few more interesting mounts. Warlords of Draenor is one of the least favorite expansions in World of Warcraft world, probably due to the instanced gameplay and solo progress, something different and not welcomed in MMORPG world. World of Warcraft 6th expansion Legion was a welcome change after Warlords of Draenor. Game felt more like WoW we love. With lore behind Legion expansion, it's understandable why is received well within the community. Released back in 2016, Legion took us to journey towards Tomb of Sargeras and the third invasion of the Burning Legion, an invasion even greater than the War of the Ancients. With Tomb of Sargeras reopened, our nemesis was easy to presume, no other than Sargeras himself, the creator of the Burning Legion who attacked Azeroth and almost destroyed it completely. Along with great and engaging story, unique Broken Isles continent, we are presented with a new class, the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunters, a disciples of Illidan's Stormrage, strive to uphold a dark legacy. The Illidari embrace fell and chaotic magics, energies that have long threatened the world of Azeroth, believing them necessary to challenge the Burning Legion. Regarding the impressive mounts and Transmog Legion did not disappoint. Only very committed managed to get prestigious Midnight Course, one of the bold equines of the Broken Isles, unmatched among the steeds of Azeroth in ferocity and strength. Or the Hellfire Infernal, a rare drop from Gul'dan in mythic version of the Nighthold. Legion, while still not the best expansion from this list, it was definitely enough to keep the community engaged and active while Blizzard prepares the next one. World of Warcraft expansion number 7, Battle for Azeroth. As we know, at the end of Legion, the Mad Titan was imprisoned, but not before he plunged his sword into the planet Azeroth. With the bleeding, a substance called Azerite, which has great magical potential, now one of the main goals for both Alliance and Horde, the new war is about to start. Released back in 2018, Battle for Azeroth main focus was grinding the Azerite and following the interestingly written story. Some of the key moments are Battle for Lordaeron. After a long, drawn-out battle, which includes Sylvanas revealing a powerful Azerite weapon and High Overlord Varrock Saurfang being captured by Alliance champions, the Horde is pushed back to the throne room and is eventually driven out entirely. Battle of Dazar'alor. The Alliance begins to gear up for a preemptive strike against Zandalar, with the goal of crippling the Golden Fleet before it can be used against the Alliance and driving a wedge between the Zandalari and the Horde. Eventually, the Alliance finishes its preparations and launches an attack on the Zandalari capital of Dazar'alor, attempting to capture Rastakhan alive. Battle for Darkshore. Tyrande Whisperwind and Malfurion Stormrage grow impatient regarding liberating Darkshore from the Horde's control, ultimately choosing to begin the offensive on their own, against Anduin's advice. Along with interesting story and chaotic world during the battle for Azeroth, few new features are introduced. And of course, the Heart of Azeroth. The Heart of Azeroth is an artifact given to the player character from the world soul. It is a necklace that can use the power of Azerite, the lifeblood of the embryonic titan Azeroth. Although overall solid expansion that was received as mediocre compared to all of the expansions in World of Warcraft. By the time of Shadowlands, World of Warcraft 8 expansion came, game was not at a good place. There was not such a huge hype for brand new expansion as before. Although it was not a bad expansion, various factors impacted the game, and Shadowlands did not raise to its full potential. Released back in 2020, Shadowlands, other than bringing new content, brought a very complicated power system and conclusion to the story we have seen in the BFA, with Sylvanas joining Zovaal. Zovaal, or Batter, called the Jailer, is the main antagonist we will encounter in expansion. New reputation introduced in Shadowlands are Bastion Revendreth, Ardenweald, Maldraxxus. They all offer unique skills, mounts, and outfits that players can use while working towards their goal of defeating Jailer. Players invested a lot of time in Torghast, Tower of the Damned, where they went up the tower floors while hunting achievements and rewards. As we know, it was not a best time for WoW, and this expansion did somewhat improve the bleak situation, but it was nothing compared to some of other we have seen in the past. World of Warcraft 9th expansion Dragonflight was a welcome change. Finally, we could see the population increase, a gameplay without messy power system. Released in 2022, Dragonflight took us finally to Dragon Isles, to ancestral homeland of Azeroth's Dragonflights. Introducing the new way of flying, so-called dynamic flying, allowed us to feel even more involved even in something other than a well-written story. While there are quite a few other gameplay improvements other than what was mentioned, probably the most liked are the new race and class. A new race, the Drakthir, are an ancient race of humanoid dragonkin. They have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 primary dragonflights as evokers, and, like true dragons, shapeshift between a draconic form and a humanoid visage. The class the Evoker is a caster class that has 2 specializations, Devastation and Preservation, with the rule of 1 evoker per realm. With unique gameplay, it became very popular in player base. In past, we hunted the rare mounts in various ways, but this way, it's different. We receive the dragons while advancing in the story, but customization is what everyone is hunting now. With such a huge variety of possible looks for dragons, this change was welcomed by community with open arms. In conclusion, it was a breath of fresh air after Shadowlands, and it brought so many good things to the game. But in some cases, story felt somewhat disconnected at times. But after the latest expansion, we know why. War Within is about to start. World of Warcraft 10th expansion. War Within is bound to bring us something different than what we are used to. This will be a part of World Soul Saga, a long-run concept instead of regular expansion that we are used to. Released in 2024, War Within took us to Isle of Dorn, the Ringing Deeps, Halafal, and Azji Kehet. Zones specially designed for us to uncover amazing story and again improved gameplay. Only now we start to understand some of the loose ends of Dragonflight. As for new race, again we are getting the Earthen. In order to unlock this race, champions of Azeroth must aid the Earthen and seek a way to restore their harmony and population. Already War Within looks like solid expansion with a huge potential. In time, how the World Saga will unveil, we will see if War Within will achieve its full potential and become the new favorite among the community. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps this channel grow, and more adventurers can enjoy the ever-changing world and history of World of Warcraft.
Darkness into the night.